distinguished that they have named a lecture series for him. And in fact, he has to leave tomorrow to attend this year's installment of the Shaun Lectures. He's the author of Imagining Boston and a book called Remarkable Unspeakable New York. I give you Shaun O'Connell.
Friends, Romans, and countrymen, I promised Larry I would say that I come to praise Larry Smith, my friend, our friend, and his great achievement in publishing his lifetime work on Cesare Pavese. As Larry says, we met in 1961 in Perry Miller's seminar overlooking Harvard Square. Mike Zuckerman from the University of Pennsylvania was in that room as well, and we've possibly kept contact since then. I thought very highly of both of them. Larry became a friend early on and has my pleasure remained so since. I admired him. He was industrious, he was bright, he was giving, and I thought that he would have a fine career. His first job was selling bread for Pepperidge Farm. Someday he'll probably be a regional manager. But that didn't work out. That there was a dark side to Larry. He had a secret obsession with all things related to Cesare Pavese, and he ran away from that, trying one thing after another, throwing himself into a banking career, as though that would lead to any kind of satisfaction. Running marathons, what was that all about? He ran 26 marathons. I said, Larry, a marathon is 26 miles. You only have to run it once. Over and over again. And I could see finally what he was running away from. He was trying to avoid that calling to deal finally with Cesare Pavese. So when he went back to his dissertation, I was very pleased to be less his editor than his facilitator, saying, that's very good, Larry, keep at it, because it's going to be good for you when you come out. And indeed it has been. But in all seriousness, it was, Larry has been, and Marguerite have been so extraordinarily generous to us in my efforts. I certainly couldn't have written my book on New York, what did I know about New York, without Larry's help and, as I was telling groups to inspire the perspective on New York that we can see stretching out behind us. So I know Marguerite was a helpful editor to him, and I think that I provided someone for him to talk with and to have another angle of vision on it. But it's his book, his achievement. He's the one who did all he could. I tried to contribute 40 years of teaching great literature from Homer down to James Joyce, and to impart what wisdom I had, which was to beef up the sex and violence. And he resisted those words.
There's a lot of sex.
We have a magnificent product. So I salute you.
Thank you. The next person to speak is the director of the University of Massachusetts Press, to whom I owe a great deal. A book would not exist without a publisher. This book was really quite a risk, I think, for the press to take. I give him credit for accepting a proposal, much less having the book published on a writer no one has ever heard of, from an author whose highest academic rank was teaching fellow. For a university press to accept that was something. And not only did I achieve really wonderful support, but they produced a really, I believe, very, very handsome book. This is a well-produced book. And in fact, as I told Bruce by email, I sent a copy of this to the current president of the publishing house for which Pavese worked all his life. Pavese was an editor, a very important editor as well as a writer. And he worked for the firm which still exists. It's one of the jewels of Italian publishing called Giulio Einaudi Editori. The current president is one of the few people left who actually worked with Pavese. I mean, the president now is in his 80s. And he wrote me back a note in Italian, one of the phrases of which was, "È un bel libro di elegante fattura." In English means, it is a beautiful book of elegant manufacture. And that's from a person who knows something about the making of books, as does the director of the University of Massachusetts Press, Bruce Wilcox.
Thank you, Larry. Well, it's my pleasure to come down with my wife, Greta, representing my colleagues at the University of Massachusetts Press. And for all of us, it was a great pleasure working with Larry on the production of the book. Now, I've been in university press publishing, that's academic publishing, for 37 years. I've seen a lot of author-publisher relationships. Some of them have been wonderful. You might categorize either end under nightmare. And Larry was definitely, our experience with Larry was definitely out at the wonderful end of the spectrum. What does that mean? I mean, what am I saying? Well, there are several attributes of a wonderful author. One is that he, this is Larry, cares deeply about his subject. He's done a tremendous amount of research, and he has something new to say, and something significant to say about Cesare Pavese, his relationship to America. It is a book with real substance. So that's important. Second, Larry writes with clarity and grace. I wish I could say that about all of you. It's not true. It does. We appreciate it. It's true. He's a pleasure. Yeah. And third, I think he understands and respects the roles of the various other people involved in the publishing process. From Shaun early on, who was writing and responding to those chapters and giving input criticism, to the academic readers we hired to review the manuscript, some very good people who wrote long reports on the manuscript, we liked it very much, but suggested further revision. To the editorial board that reviewed all of these reports and eventually decided that this was a book we ought to publish. To Carol Besch, our managing editor, who worked closely with Larry through the publication process. The designer, Sally Nichols, the people responsible for marketing, publicity, a whole array of people. And Larry worked well with all of them. So he came up a few times to America, lost photographs, he delivered the manuscript, and sessions came around talking about what the oil frame was, what on the cover, what the cover and stuff like that. And after a while, his enthusiasm was infectious. This is a guy who really cared about this subject, knew a lot about it, and wanted to get this book right. And so that it was hard not to get excited about the book for those of us involved in it. So labor of love. Now, a lot of academic books are written to get tenure. They're written for promotion. That wasn't in Larry's mind. This was labor of love.